Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate you for tuning in live. Everyone that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the Vault, episode 637. How much does it cost to hire a private trustee? Definitely thankful that we can do this episode. Appreciate once again everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. This is the Vault, episode 637. How much does it cost to hire a private trustee? So, definitely thank you all. Really excited about doing this particular episode. So many people throughout the years are wondering how much does it cost? How much does it cost? So we're going to talk about it today. Some people actually ask, how much does it cost to have the education to become a trustee? What you can expect from a minimum expense of one person in a consulting firm. So the numbers that we're going to give, we would say these are numbers that are, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear the numbers, we would say this is a pre 2020 number. Not the best, but it wasn't the worst. So, like an average salary, average cost associated with how much does it cost to hire a private trustee. So, in modern terms, 2024, and this episode's been done, we're gonna say that these numbers are probably double, but they on average can be the same, but not in all areas. So we're gonna come from a list that we've had from pre 2020. Share with you all the sentiment back then, how much it cost to be a trustee pre 2020, because the work for hire changed some things, work for home changed some things. So one individual accounting, it's $100 a month to do accounting for the trustee. $100 a month in advertising. $100 a month in insurance. We have $50 for internet. It could be home internet, office internet. Traditionally, still, once again, all these costs could be double. So just look at it as that. Accounting could cost $200 a month in 2024. If there's an accountant looking over the trustee's shoulders for bookkeeping purposes, $200 a month is not expensive for bookkeeping. Advertising could be not a lot, but social media advertising, if we just cranked it up to $200 for social media advertising is a small spend. For sometimes people are getting great returns on advertising, specifically social media, various different platforms such as those. Internet, once again, we said $50 could be $100, just because that's where internet is, home internet, quote unquote, office internet. Legal professional, we have $50 a month, previously 2020, but we would say now it's easily double that, so it would be $100. So you have someone that is there around for just almost on retainer. Some people would say, oh, they're on retainer for $100 a month. No, that's just letting you know their billable hours might be $100 minimum for sure. That's fine. Well, it used to be 50 before COVID. So we're moving on. Meals and entertainment. We have previously pre 2020. We have $200 a month. We would say right now, trustees in the modern times. Some trustees, y'all can type into the chat. We would love for everybody to listen to this episode. That's a core audience listener. Type into the chat. Can they live off $400 a month and meals and entertainment? And think about how broad entertainment is, ladies and gentlemen. So that covers a lot of your people's buffoonery, a lot of people's wasting of time, entertainment. If it was just meals, 200 to 400 could be gravy. But when people add in that entertainment into the expense of the family estate, it's a little different. And this is just for one individual, quote unquote, as a trustee. So that's that. Once again, pre 2020, some people would say, oh, trust Christian involved. Were things different then? Once again, meals and entertainment should be about 400 for sure, minimum. That's how much to carve out for trustees for meals and entertainment. Minimum $400. That's just one for one. Could be male, female. You guys can figure that out. So we get to the next one. Could be rent. Say rent. Why? Because the trust may not have property that it owns, and the trustee may be quote unquote renting on behalf of the trust, the family estate. Pre 2020, we're talking about $500. Some people say, "Oh no way, trust Christian involved. You can't live on $500 a month. Who can live on $500 a month on rent?" Well, okay, if we bumped it up to 1,000, Even if we did it to 1,500, where that would be able to house someone. The only thing is, it's not housing people in major cities. These are places where people are going to be in the middle of nowhere sometimes, or they're just going to be in areas that can handle that bill. So once again, we take it from five. If we say 500 pre 20, we're going to say 1,500 post 2020. So as you all know, you say, "Oh man, Trust Christian, I can't live off of that. I can't live off $2,000 for rent or mortgage. I can't live off 3,000. I need more than that. I got a 4 bedroom house right now for whatever it is, but they have mortgages on them in their name. They took an inflated way to rent a property that they may or may not buy, own, or sell. It could get foreclosed on. There's a lot of factors in these situations. The only thing is that we're talking about from a trustee's perspective. So you train the successors. The successors understand that they're not meant to be leeches off the family estate. Their job is to grow the family estate. It's a hard pill to swallow sometimes for someone to say, "Oh yeah, well I gotta be the trustee or I gotta step up and be a successor." What else are you gonna be? A beneficiary? So you can be liable? No. So we got software. This is something people don't take into account. Some people say, "Oh, what do you mean software? $250 a month." That was pre 2020. These are some of the numbers that we've seen, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Well, we encountered ourselves. Why? Because when you're in trusteeship, you have a system in place. Why would you not have a software system in place? You have some level of SAP in place or something of that sort. And it's definitely standard operating procedure. So it's many different things that we want to have in place in the software that we're using. It could add up various different softwares for our team to manage information flow. 250, we would say pre 20, post 2020. Uh, we would just say it's 500. Supplies. These could be small supplies. I mean, this is once again getting into knick-knack miscellaneous expense. But once again, miscellaneous expense could be supplies could be less. If it was 50 allocated for budget for one trustee a month. I mean, if you're not buying that many pens and pencils, what do you need to go buy every month? It's setting up a budget. Supplies 50. Now we just say about maybe up to $100 for supplies because of inflation and things of that nature. So they have a budget for supplies. Telephone. This is interesting once again because we would say the previous numbers pre 2020, we have $100 on here a month. Why would a cell phone for a business person that's just using standard phone calls have to pay more than $100? So some of the costs don't always have to be aggregated out, but some of them do. This one in particular, it may be a little excessive. If it's one trustee on the family call on the line, then that's $100. If it's not, and it's more than one person, then of course it's going to be closer to $200 plus. Travel expenses very low again, $250. That's not a lot of capital. I mean, even in a first class ticket situation, you could be dropping anywhere from I probably haven't seen any first class tickets, excuse us, any business class tickets as well for probably less than $400 for a while. So having a $250 budget is not a lot. It's a little. So having a budget for the trustee to travel, like there's an event coming up that we're going to next week. It costs 25. It costs actually probably about $3,000 to $5,000. You're buying into a network. They're giving you spreadsheets of people's contact because people that are in the environment want to network. It's like a club. Uh, Once again, the events. How do we say about them? If you were to fly to that event from Atlanta today, or just in general, it probably if you're not doing first class, of course you can get a ticket for less than $300. You can shimmy cocoa puff that one for sure for the $300. But if it's going to be business class traveling across the country for round trip tickets, they're not going to be less than $500 for the most part. So setting aside a budget to have a good business seat, so that means you're ensuring when you travel, you're traveling in the not you're traveling in the business coach class. That means you're sitting in a room with business people. That means you don't have to hesitate on opening up your mouth to connect with these people. Why? Because we're aware that they want to talk. That's why they're in business class. People pay to be, they pay more to separate themselves because they want They paying to have that conversation. They definitely are. And some people say, "Oh, really?" Like, yeah, it's not just celebrities flying to travel in between a movie shoot. It's actually business people. That's why it's business class. And business people have conversations. It was just interesting the other day when we ran into someone, and he specifically dresses down in what people call business class or first class or whatever. And he does that to actually get people to ask him what he does. So it works both ways. Sometimes you can be dressed down, and if someone, it may allow people to make you be more personable to reach out to them in the airplane. But at the end of the day, if someone else is dressed down, sure, it gives you the invite to ask them what do they do. They're dressed down, quote unquote, more casual, and it starts a conversation starter. And they do this for conversation starting purposes. It's not just to just be super comfortable. We all can focus on being comfortable, but once again, we're talking about the business expense of traveling, and that could be in a car, that could be in a plane, that could be in a train. There could be various different forms of transportation. So as you can see, the budget it could get a lot more extensive for a trustee. So as we move into utilities, all right, you're talking about some basic things there. Once again, basic utility bills. You're literally talking like water, gas, things like that for one housed of a trustee. So total expenses over a 12-month period would be 21,000. So let's just say that a trustee brings in a family estate income and a net income of $72,000. That means they would be able to play with 50 because there are expenses. The family estate has expenses for this trustee. Are you going to set aside $72,000? This was an estimate for this trustee. They didn't want to spend more money. They didn't want to spend any more money than this on the trustee, which was $72,000, and they had to pay some expenses. We talked about those expenses in order for the trustee to operate at a decent level. These are the expenses of the family estate. And in turn, the trustee got 50K. Now, we're not recommending that, but the trustee was able to collect that. Why? Because they were expensed out of $72,000, and that $21,000 was expenses for them to even manage that trustee, for them to even have that trustee. It was really cost the family estate $72,000. But as you can see, the family estate hemorrhaged another $20,000, and the trustee made 50 in that particular case, quote unquote. But the point being is we want to point out that even if you were to house a trustee for $70,000, doing all of these things, giving them the salary, quote unquote, giving them the money, how much does it cost to hire one? We're talking about anywhere from, it's really not 70. Once again, we're not gonna say you could double it, but you could double it. So bam, say you double it, then you're at 100K. That's the minimum for 2020. Now post 2020, we're in the post 2020 era or post COVID era, quote unquote. So that means what we're talking now. If it was previously $50,000, just for base income salary. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. We were just watching something earlier today where Jeff Bezos supposedly paid himself for over 10 years $80,000 as a salary. Now, you guys can go look it up. We encourage people to really jump into that. Why? Because this is the thought process of great individuals, ladies and gentlemen. Understanding you don't need to hemorrhage the company for cash. Nevertheless, let's just look at it again. So we have 70 $1,000 is an expense for the trustee and some additional expenses. Once again, accounting, advertising, insurance, internet, legal, professional, meals, entertainment, rent, software, supplies, telephone, travel, utilities. These are things trustees say, oh, Trust Christian and Vote, I gotta come up with a minute for these things. Exactly. You can really literally write based off of what we talked about, a minute for those things. Well, it could and actually could add some additional ones. So we know that there's going to be a lot of value passed along by just starting out with trustees, giving them this idea of how to operate in trusteeship privately this way. So it's exciting. It's really exciting to see that some trustees say, "Oh man, it's gonna cost about what, $140,000, Trust Christian in the Vault, to hire a trustee like you." Sure. $140,000. What is that? That means you're paying somebody Minimum $12,000 a month. What is that? 24,000? No, it's 12,000. No, it's about to add that up for y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Gotta add that up. So that's about 11. Yeah, $11,000 a month. Someone's paying private trustees $11,000 a month to manage their family estate. Some of y'all say, "Oh, we got $1 million worth of assets. We got a half $1 million worth of assets. We got $2 million worth of assets." So that's what you're looking at to have someone come in and actually get the job done, lock and loaded. They gonna do it. Pockets loaded. They gonna do it, no doubt about it. You say, "Oh, trust Christian Paul." Who's the competent trustee that's gonna get this? Any ex-investment banker. They are someone that's worked for any of your major financial institutions. They are your private trustees. They are someone that can be a great signator. They've been a signator, someone that has private banking experience, or traditionally, when we talk about private banking experience, we meant to say investment banking experience. And investment banking experience actually being a signator, somebody that understands that they need to be compliant. They're going to stay compliant. Compliance is something that's important to them. So you're hiring almost a compliance manager. People say, "Oh, trust Christian Vault. I gotta fire me an accountant. I gotta hire the bookkeeper." But then you're the trustee, the sole trustee. So what happens when you have to put a real plan in place or something for a full-time trustee, quote unquote, and then it costs you 140K to the family estate? Okay, well, the trustee's job is to grow the family estate as well. It's not to just be paid $140,000 a year. So it's not like they can hit performance metrics as well. You all can build that in. Sounds like a lot though, trust Christian Vault. I gotta come out of pocket with that $11,000 right away on the high end. I gotta come out of pocket with the $5,000 right away, the $10,000 right away. It's an expense, ladies and gentlemen, to the family estate. Children's education is an expense. These are expenses. Business expenses. We appreciate you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. What an exciting time it is to be alive. How much does it cost to hire a private trustee? So that right there, when you all say, what is that 140 or that 100K nowadays, or like even if you say like, hey, what's the lowest we could go trust Christian Vault to hire a trustee? Once again, if you want to break that list of cost up into a fractional trustee, some people will call it a fractional trustee. On the public side, they call it a fractional CFO, which is a chief financial officer. So on the public side, it would be a chief, a fractional CFO. On the private side, it could look like a private trustee, fractional private fractional trustee. They wouldn't be really called fractional. It just depends on the terms of the trust and that trustee contract. So that's what it comes down to. It costs, once again, in the private sector, we know it's going to range. It could be low. It could be very low. We could say it could be $50,000 or it could be $250,000 for sure. And that's a broad range. So huge range of opportunity for people to jump in and control assets and manage those assets. That's how that looks. That's how it looks. How much does it cost to hire a private trustee? Definitely look forward to connecting with you all, hearing from you all. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace.